Hey, welcome to Rapid Flow. My name's Eric. I'm the founder, and if you're watching this video, this is the setup manual for setting up the Rapid Flow template V3, which if you're on an active Bitwig Update subscription, you should have gotten for free. So let me show you what we have going on here and give you a first impression. Let's start actually by showing you a couple of the demos in here with a huge thanks to Protoculture, to Nate, and to Braincell, Ralph, who created some really nice sounding new demos for us. Let me play some of this for you. Okay, I hope this gives you an initial idea. What you have in front of you is, to say it very shortly, it's not as much a template, which is wording we regret a little bit, because we know people are not big fans of templates. This is more like a mixing and production workflow. So what you're seeing on the screen here is that there are tracks laid out here in blocks of just 4 scenes. And by going through these scenes, of course, you can progress through a track. There are 8 channels here with which you can control your whole live set, as I was just doing when you saw that, using just one controller. I have multiple controllers here set up for different workflows and templates that we have, but we're just going to be using this today for the template V3. And with that, you're able to interact with your music in real time. So when you open this, the first part of the setup that's very essential if you're using an MkII APC40 Mark II is you need to switch it into user mode. Then all these knobs here will already be pre-mapped, and these are in essence your DJ effects. So with that, you're able to affect the track that's playing. And let me give you another quick impression of that. I also have a low cut. And I also have like delays and a reverb. Washout. Okay, so the reason or the why we have done this all with the setting it up like this with the template and the controllers is because we came to a certain point where we realized that making music just with a mouse and just staring at the screen all day, especially if you work in IT, which is something I used to do before Rapid Flow freed me from that, is just extremely tedious. And it feels kind of like working on an Excel sometimes, even though we have all these nice tools and instruments. Like sequencing a track using a mouse for me is just very, very painful. So what we came up with is a workflow where just using 8 faders on your controller and these DJ effects, you're able to interact with your music in real time and play the DAW like an instrument. Okay, so let's play through this track using the controller and see like how easy it can be to just intuitively interact with this track. I'm playing through this set now, and this is actually how you can build up a whole live set, but also how you can do track sketches really easily in this workflow where you just go from top to bottom and you just use a couple of rows, a couple of faders, and if your track sketcher idea works with just those couple of faders, if you make it into a full track later where you add more tracks and more stuff and effects and transitions and build-ups and everything, of course it's going to be even more amazing. But one of the amazing talents of Nate is that his parts like really mean something. Like if I show you the difference between the first transition and the second, just as an example, you'll see, I think, how impactful his tracks are. So this is like super nice, and then when you start the next scene, everything starts to shift melodically. So the goal here is if you're able to make a track sketch work with just 8 tracks and all the drums are condensed into one drum rack here at the beginning, then you're in business. Now, the astute ones amongst you may have noticed that this sounds pretty much like a mastered track, and no, we're not using any of the gear here in the studio. This is the Rapid Flow Studio where we make these templates and also all the sampled instruments that you get in the bigger versions of our template. We have something called the Infinity Bundle, which has a lot of the stuff here sampled and put into it, but I digress. So the goal here was to give you a workflow that is easy to use and fun, but also that sounds really good. Because I'm a trained sound engineer, I was privileged to go to SAE and learn all this stuff from the ground up, and even then it still took me a really long time to get to grips with this. So besides the DJ effects that I've showed you now, which we can have a look over here, and then you can see all this stuff is already set up, and if you're using an APC 40 Mark II, everything's pre-mapped. But we also have a mastering chain. So everything is going, the signal flow is going, those 8 tracks are going to the super channel, which you see over here in the middle. And from there, it's going to the mastering chain, and then it's hitting your output. And this mastering chain is making sure that your tracks are coming out at a competitive level, which actually from here you could release straight to your streaming platform of choice, or as things are developing now, I think there are better options, right? So let me give you a quick view on this, what this looks like on the Julian loudness meter, so that you see, like, yeah, this is, you could release this. Let me show you. So as you can see, if I start another track now here, maybe let's take one from Ralph. So as you can see, all this is at -8, -7 loops, which is sort of the sweet spot where I would recommend to master electronic music in these days. I know Spotify says -14, but I wouldn't recommend you to do that because it'll basically feel less dynamic, less loud actually is the correct word, when you're in a playlist. But anyway, that's a completely different thing. So you have a mastering chain in here, and all this stuff is all set up. Like, you don't really need to do much with it. You just, if you start using this to create your own tracks, because of course, you know, that's what we hope and expect you to do with it, all you need to do is make sure that you maintain a similar level for new kick samples that you bring in, and then build up your track. I have a meeting with the lovely Bitwig people. I don't know if that came through in 30 minutes, but we've gotten through everything now. It was my Alexa telling me what's happening in my agenda. So basically what you have is a whole signal flow for live performance, for composing, for using your DAW in the studio like an instrument. And all you have to do is just make sure that if you're playing a track with just the kick drum, so let's solo this. And let me solo just the kick. You will see that the actual level, wait, I should take you over here, then you can actually see. You will see, come on. You will see that the actual level in the track is pretty low. It's like -24. But because of the whole boost and the mastering chain and everything, that gives you a very dynamic mix with options to really boost things also if you need to. But it'll give you a mix that's very loud and balanced, and it'll actually get you a better sounding mix if you do quite a low gain stage in the channels and then boost things up as you go towards your output. In my experience then, if you have your tracks all full blasting, and especially if you're using plugins that model analog processors that expect like minus 18 dB full scale or like 0 VU coming in, this will make a huge difference for how clean your tracks will sound. So this is the basic setup stuff. When you have an APC40, all this stuff is pre-mapped. If you need to map this stuff yourself, let me show you, it's very easy to do. We need to just move my face out of the way here. There you go. On the super channel, which I've selected now, there is these macros that you need to map to. So the way that this works is make sure that your APC40, if that's what you're using, is set to user, very, very critical part. And just map the first rotary encoder to low cut, the second to high cut, the third to washout, the fourth to verb, the fifth to delay 1, the sixth to delay 2, the seventh to phaser, and the very last fader that you have, or sorry, rotary encoder, in this case on the APC40, that's actually a little bit different. That gets mapped to this parameter here, which is hi-hat decay. And what that gives you is the possibility to adjust the decay of your hi-hats and other percussion instruments to match the vibe and speed and energy of your track. So now let me bring in the hi-hats. As you can see, it's affecting the decay of this very long hi-hat sample, which is a super nice trick to just kind of make your hi-hat groove feel different in different parts of the track. And so that's all the mapping you need to do. Of course, the faders go to the first 8 tracks that you have over here. The master fader is left over free. You don't actually need to map that. And yeah, the labeling up here is correct. The labeling here is different because this is actually, I use this for a much bigger template that we have, which is called the Infinity Bundle, where there's more channels and more things. And that's basically everything you need to know for the setup of this. I'm also going to be making videos where I show you how to compose with this. And maybe to finish off, we have also added 2 of our sampled instruments for free, which is back here, our analog kick collection and our Elektron rhythm bass. So I've just gone ahead and given you some of the best stuff that we have, because why waste your time? Have a listen. So what you're hearing now is one of our analog kick drums, and we have a bunch to pick from. This is an MFB Tanzberg kick. Let's try a DFAM. Or an 808. 909. Here's some Vermona. And all those kicks were processed with analog processors here in the studio, so that you get this analog quality into the track, same as the Elektron bass. Let me show you that, because it's one of the basses we get the most feedback on that people love. What we've done is we've sampled it note by note, so you can see it playing here. And this is what they sound like. Let me show you the other one. This one actually ran through the tape machine that you see in the back here, this Revox A77. It just adds such a cool vibe. And then here we have the RYTM running through the NEVE, which is sitting on our desk here, the master bus processor. And then finally, we have it with an open filter running through the Revox. So If you want more of this kind of instrument goodness, we have instruments that we recorded as part of our Infinity Bundle, which is also available for Bitwig. But I have a little preface or like a little announcement, something that I can show you that we're working on right now that I think is going to be very, very cool. And that's this. This is our upcoming instrument. It's called Zensphere. It's completely based on note-by-note samples taken in our studio to give you the maximum quality. All this stuff is sampled with like Prism audio converters through a very high-grade mixer with all this outboard stuff. In the back here, I can maybe show you, we have a ton of synthesizers that we sample for this instrument. And yeah, we're just now working on the final steps to complete it, and that's going to be out hopefully now in August if all goes as planned. Let's see, software development, you never really know. But yeah, the idea was to give you an instrument that is easy to use, but also has all the basic functions that you would want to quickly, set up your sound in the synth without making it too complicated. And of course, the absolute maximum that we can deliver for you in sound quality of pre-processed sounds using this analog gear so that, it sounds sick and you can just get going with it really fast. So that's what we're working on right now. You now have an overview of how to set up the Rapid Flow Template V3 for Bitwig. And yeah, welcome to Rapid Flow. And check out the other videos where I'm going to show you how to compose with this, but also, and that's going to be, I think, the most exciting video for you to check out, how you can use this workflow with the controllers to make your sequence in real time rather than dragging blocks across the screen, which was my biggest revelation in the 25 years that I've been making music. So big shout out to Bitwig for this partnership where we are now doing with the template what we actually set out to do from the very beginning when I developed this 3 years ago. My initial goal was just to distribute this for free. Then it turned out that actually, I realized, hey, there's a business here and I can live from this and exit my miserable corporate existence, which I did. But now we have a lot of other products and a lot of things that we're doing. So actually the original Rapid Flow template, I'm very, very happy that it's now going to be for free for Bitwig users. And if you're on a Bitwig subscription plan, which we're super happy about to share this with Bitwig and the Bitwig family. So that's it for me today here from Portugal. I'm going to play through one of these amazing demos from Nate to just give you a final impression of just how great the template sounds and how cool it is to make music with. And I'll see you on one of the next videos. Take it easy. Bye-bye.